economics. This word is uncountable and means the study of the way in which money and goods are produced and used. For example, a Harvard professor of economics. Economy. It is countable. The system by which a country's money and goods are produced and used, or a country considered in this way. For example, a successful economy. Money. It is uncountable. And the meaning is cash. Or what you earn by working. Pay attention to adjectives. Big money. Swiss Turkish money.
Investment. It is countable and uncountable. If it is countable, it means something that you buy or do because it will be useful later. For example, the lessons cost me over $500, but I consider them a good investment. If it is uncountable and singular, means when you spend a lot of money, time, and effort on something. A huge investment of time and effort. Debt. It is countable and uncountable. Countable. Amount of money that a someone owes. She had debts of over $100. Uncountable. When you owe money to someone, the band will be in debt to the record company for years. Profit. It is countable and uncountable. Countable. Money that you gain by selling things or doing business, after your costs have been paid. For example, the shop's daily profit is usually around $500. It is uncountable. An advantage that you gain from doing something. For example, there's no profit in letting meetings drag on.
Asset. It uses as a countable, usually plural word. The things that a company owns, that can be sold to pay debts. The value of a company's assets. Another form is countable, usually singular, which means something or someone that is useful because they help you succeed or deal with problems. For example, a sense of humor is a great asset in this business.
Bankruptcy. It can be used as an uncountable and countable form. The state of being unable to pay your debts. When inflation rises, so do bankruptcies. But if it is uncountable, it means that a total lack of a particular good quality. The moral bankruptcy of terrorism. Budget. It is countable. The money that is available to an organization or person, or a plan. A welfare program with a budget of $2 million. This word can be used with the following words. Budget of. Budget for. Budget deficit. Budget surplus. Currency. Uncountable and countable. The system or type of money that a country uses. For example, the local currency is the Swiss franc. Uncountable. The state of being accepted or used by a lot of people. For example, the idea was common currency in European political life. Recession. It can be used in two forms, uncountable and countable. A difficult time when there is less trade, business activity, etc. in a country than usual. The economic recession of the early 1980s. Interest. It is uncountable. The extra money that you must pay back when you borrow money. For example, the interest on the loan is 16% per year. Inflation. Uncountable. A continuing increase in prices, or the rate at which prices increase. Inflation is now at over 16%. Supply and demand. Uncountable. The relationship between the quantity of goods for sale and the quantity of goods that people want to buy. The law of supply and demand. National income. It is uncountable. For example, a large proportion of the national income comes from food exports. Income. It can be used as an uncountable and countable word. Pay attention to these 2 points. Income from. Income from savings and pensions. On an income. People on higher incomes should pay more tax. Poverty. It is uncountable. Pay attention to the following points. The poverty line. 20% of the population now live below the poverty line. Live in poverty. Half the world is living in poverty. Wealth. It is an uncountable word. A large amount of money or property. For example, the country's wealth comes from its oil. Stagflation. It is an uncountable noun. An economic situation in which there is inflation but many people do not have jobs. Globalization. Uncountable. Example. The increasing globalization of world trade. Trade. It is an uncountable noun. The activity of buying, selling, or exchanging goods within a country or between countries. There has been a marked increase in trade between East and West. Pay attention to the arms, drug, slave trade. International trade. Stagnation. It is uncountable. Stopping developing or making progress. Economic stagnation. Capitalism. It is an uncountable noun. An economic and political system in which businesses belong mostly to private owners, not to the government. Economic stagnation. Taxation. It is an uncountable noun. The system of charging taxes. Direct taxation equals tax on income. Indirect taxation equals tax on things you buy. Market. Countable. A time when people buy and sell goods, food, etc. Or the place, usually outside or in a large building, where this happens. I usually buy all my vegetables at the market. Utility. Countable, usually plural. It means a service such as gas or electricity provided for people to use. Does your rent include utilities? Fund. It is a countable word. An amount of money that is collected and kept for a particular purpose. The fund was set up to try to save the cathedral. Tariffs. It is a countable word. A tax on goods coming into a country or going out of a country. The government may impose tariffs on imports. Import. Uncountable and countable. A product that is brought from one country into another. A ban on beef imports. Pay attention to these points. Import from, American demand for Japanese imports from Japan. Foreign imports. Agricultural imports. Liquidity. It is an uncountable noun. When a business or a person has money or goods that can be sold to pay debts. For example, financial institutions must maintain sufficient liquidity to meet the demands of depositors. Macroeconomics. Uncountable. The study of large economic systems that are part of national or international systems. Microeconomics. It is an uncountable word. The study of small economic systems that are part of national or international systems. To launder. To put money which has been obtained illegally into legal businesses and bank accounts, so that you can hide it or use it. Most of the drugs money was laundered through Swiss bank accounts. Gross domestic product. Singular. If the GDP continues to shrink, it may result in a lot of unemployment. Wall Street. A street in New York which is the most important financial center in America. A drop in share prices on Wall Street. Federal Reserve System. The national banking system in the U.S. Fiscal. Relating to money, taxes, debts that are owned and managed by the government. A fiscal crisis.